you got to have a few of the right ingredients to be a proper premium player in Australia. It's got to be plush, it's got to be luxurious, and it has to have all the best tech. But as evidenced by the BMW X6 and Audi Q8, you've also got to have a bit of style to spare. Enter the Genesis GV80 Coupe, a new sloped roof body style that injects a bit more flair into the luxury SUV. But has Genesis done more than just a nip-tuck job? Well, by the end of this video, you're going to find out. The GV80 Coupe enters showrooms at the same time as the revised GV80 SUV. And you know when there are updates, prices only go one way. For starters, only the 3.5 litre twin-turbo V6 engine is available, with the discontinuation of the diesel and the 2.5 litre four-cylinder. The luxury pack, which was a $10,000 option before, is now also standard across the range, as well as a few exterior styling tweaks and more in-cabin technology to make life a bit more comfortable.
This means prices for the 2025 Genesis GV80 7-seater now start at $130,000 before on-road costs, about $20,000 more expensive than the outgoing model, which, remember, had the luxury pack as an option. Opt for the 6 seats that replaces the second row with plush captain's chairs, and that price nudges up to $133,000.
However, this GV80 Coupe is priced at $136,000 and only offers seating for 5. Yes, that's right, you're actually paying more for less seats, but at least the equipment list is stacked.
Regardless of body style, all new GV80s come as standard with, stay with me here, Napa leather interior, heated and cooled front seats, a heated steering wheel, heated outboard seats in the second row, power adjustable front seats, tri-zone climate control, keyless entry, push button start, soft closed doors, retractable sunblinds for the second row, powered tailgate, sound insulated glass, LED exterior lighting, 22-inch wheels, and interior ambient lighting. Deep breath. And there are new additions in this update, such as a heated center armrest, UVC sterilizer, digital rearview mirror, and redesigned climate controls, as well as a 27-inch OLED screen that covers both instrumentation and infotainment. That infotainment screen also features inbuilt satellite navigation, digital radio, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto support.
You might scoff at the premium pricing, but what do you expect when you're buying a premium brand? The GV80 SUV and Coupe is still noticeably more affordable than its rivals from Germany, and it still ticks all the boxes in terms of equipment. And on top of that, there's 5 years of free servicing. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Obviously, the biggest difference between this and the GV80 SUV is that the Coupe has a more steeply raked roofline. And if you're not a fan of SUV coupes, well, the GV80 isn't going to change your mind. I do like that Genesis has massaged the rear end to incorporate a boot lip spoiler, and there's also a split rear wing at the top there and visible exhaust outlets down the bottom for a more athletic appearance.
In profile, the coupe design is more apparent thanks to this shrunken rear window, but the taut athletic appearance carries over from the SUV. And these wheels? They're 22 inches. How baller.
At the front, the GV80 Coupe features a more aggressively styled bumper as well as a different grille, but for the most part, it largely looks pretty similar to the SUV. I'll be honest with you, I was already a fan of the GV80 styling before, but the Coupe just adds an extra dose of swagger to the Genesis brand. Inside, the differences between the GV80 Coupe and SUV are minimal, but the Coupe does score a flat bottom steering wheel and touches of real carbon fiber throughout the cabin. But the headlining new feature available across all new GV80 body styles is this 27-inch OLED screen, which encompasses instrumentation and infotainment. It's a real showstopper of technology. Functionality is also excellent, with everything feeling fast, smooth, and snappy, and you can customize these home tiles to put all the most used features up front, like car wash mode and mood curator. Genesis has always excelled at offering plush and premium seats, and the GV80 is no different. It feels like I'm sitting in a lounge chair. And from here, there's plenty of storage options for your daily carry. You can fit a large water bottle in the door pockets, there's 2 cup holders here, a wireless smartphone tray, as well as an underarm storage cubby and a glove box.
But the GV80 has another party trick up its sleeve. This armrest is now heated, and if you pop it open, there is a UV sterilizer so you can get your phone or keys cleaned while driving. How cool is that?
As an SUV coupe, you might think that the second row seats are compromised, but look, I'm sat behind my preferred driving position. I've got plenty of leg room, shoulder room, and even a bit of headroom. And if you thought the front seats were plush, well, the second row seats are equally as opulent, with comfy pews and plenty of storage options throughout. You won't notice the difference in body styles when you're sitting in the car, but you might notice it when you open the boot. Because the coupe can accommodate a 644-litre capacity, while the SUV in 5-seat configuration can swallow 735 litres. Honestly though, will you notice? Probably not, because the GV80 Coupe can still accommodate a full-size pram, golf clubs, weekend luggage, and more. And I get it, the 91-litre difference sounds like a lot on paper, but in practice, with such a generous load floor, it's really not a compromise unless you're filling this thing to the brim.
Fold the second row down in the GV80 Coupe and space swells to 1,033 litres, bringing it much more in line with the SUV's 1,097 litre figure when in the same configuration. Seriously, space is not a concern for this sloped roof SUV coupe. Powering this Genesis GV80 is a 3.5 litre twin turbocharged petrol V6 engine, outputting 279 kilowatts and 530 newton meters. Sadly, Australia misses out on a more potent engine available in overseas versions of the GV80 Coupe, but with all-wheel drive grip and an 8-speed automatic transmission, this Genesis large SUV will accelerate from 0 to 100 km an hour in just 5.7 seconds. Oddly, the slightly heavier SUV is a touch faster, needing just 5.6 seconds to hit 100 km an hour from a standstill. But out on the road, you're not going to be able to tell the difference.
Officially, the GV80 SUV and Coupe will return a fuel economy figure of 11.7 litres per 100 kilometres. And in my time with the car, well, I haven't actually got an accurate real-world figure yet, so here's future me.
After a few days with the GV80 Coupe doing the school run, peak hour commute, and a long freeway drive, I averaged 11 litres per 100 kilometres. Keep in mind too that this thing drinks 95 premium unleaded, so it will be a bit more costly to fill at the Bowser.
Thanks, future me. Okay, the first thing you need to know about driving a Genesis is that this thing is a Korean interpretation of luxury. And that might be different from what you would want or even expect out of a premium brand. But the one thing this car does better than its peers is unbridled comfort at an attractive price point. This means the adaptive suspension is set up in such a way where the GV80 just glides over bumps and road imperfections. And the steering is light, a little bit too light for my taste, but it does mean that maneuvering this large SUV around town and into tight parking spaces is a bit easier. And don't be fooled by that 3.5 litre twin turbo V6 either, because it's tuned in such a way that it delivers smooth and linear performance. It's just really unintimidating and easy to drive. If you want a pleasant, premium and plush car, the GV80 ticks all those boxes. There's also a sport driving mode, which sharpens up the throttle response and puts a bit more weight in the steering and just dials everything up a notch. And while it's nice to have it available, a sportier driving feel is a bit at odds with the GV80's toolkit because the car doesn't quite transform enough to be a fun and engaging SUV. Don't get me wrong, this thing is fine to drive fast, but it never shrinks around you and eggs you on to push a bit harder in a corner like some of the best drivers' SUVs. Yes, you heard me right, there are some genuinely fun to drive SUVs like the Porsche Cayenne and Alfa Romeo Stelvio. And if you opt for a GV80 Coupe, you also get a Sport Plus driving mode, which kicks things up a notch, firms up the brakes, and turns off stability control so you can get a bit of wiggle in the back end. Is the driving feel enough to sway you from an SUV to a coupe? Honestly, no. They largely feel the same from the driver's seat, for good and for bad. So if you're tossing up between the two, it's going to come down to styling. You know how they say beauty is only skin deep? Well, that's especially apt for the GV80 Coupe because the differences between it and the SUV are largely superficial. Sure, if you love the slope back styling, go for the Coupe. It's not even that much more expensive than the SUV. But buying any GV80 will net you a high-end, well-equipped and ultra-premium SUV without breaking the bank.